introduce Debra Sweet from World Can't Wait.
You know, I want to talk about what the United States does around the world, and I'm not excluding this country. But in World Can't Wait, we have a saying, stop mass incarceration by the United States at home and abroad. And I want to bring a little bit about what's happening around the world by this same system, the U.S. system of mass incarceration. Hundreds of men still in Guantanamo. I know Obama said he was going to close it 3.5 years ago. There are still 161 prisoners there. Most of them never did anything. They were poor Afghanis, poor peasants who were rounded up. Somebody got paid $5,000 to turn them over to the United States, and they ended up in Guantanamo. Out in Colorado, in Indiana, there are whole units, the CMU units, the Communication Management Units, where there are hundreds of men. What is their common characteristics? Every single one of them is Muslim. Every single one of them is Muslim. Arrested since 9/11 for so-called violations of whatever, many of them set up by the FBI. Many of them found guilty basically for what they're thinking about or what the government thinks they were thinking about. This is the criminal justice system at work on all of these levels. And then we have 2.4 million people in this country imprisoned. Not one of them is a Dick Cheney. Not one of them worked for the Bush administration setting up the torture regime. Not one of them is a cop that beat somebody to death or near to death or killed somebody out of the hundreds and hundreds of people killed by the police in this country. How many police are doing time? An infinitesimal amount. This is a system of mass incarceration. This is not a bad policy. This is not an accident. This is not a mistake. This is a system thinking about how are we going to keep things exactly the way they are. And this is a system calling on us, all those people who care about humanity of whatever nationality, to take a stand against this system of mass incarceration and the underlying illegitimacy, injustice, and immorality under it, and to take action across the country. I'm glad that there are people in cities around the country today doing this protest, but this is only a start. This is a beginning, small as it is. This is just the beginning of breaking the silence. This has to become a serious movement across the country of all nationalities, of people of all ages, digging into their hearts and thinking, is this a country we want to live in that imprisons a quarter of all the people imprisoned on the globe are imprisoned right here in this country? What kind of insanity is that? That's the kind of illegitimacy we have to challenge. That's what we in World Can't Wait are about, and we're glad to be here with you today, but we have work to do to bring out more people. So let's hear from some more people, and let's figure out how we're going to do that. Thank you for breaking the silence.
All right. So I'd like to introduce a very close friend of mine. Spent a couple hours in a jail cell with this dude in Cornell West, and it was probably one of the more formative experiences for me over the past 4 months. So I'd like to introduce with great pleasure the social satirist and political comedian Randy Credico.
Whoa, did he boo me? I can't follow Debra Sweet and Father Barrios. This is great to be here today as part of this growing movement. I want to congratulate and commend Carl Dix for his initial organizing and his organization, the Revolutionary Communist Party. As I told them yesterday or last week, this is a broad-based movement. We have the far left, represented by Carl Dix, and the far right, represented by me, since I'm a Democrat. I'm a Democrat because I ran against Chuck Schumer last year, so I maintain I've infiltrated the Democratic Party. This is great today. As you look over there, there's like 12, 13 officers in white shirts and undercover. The undercover guys are the ones that are whacked out on steroids, and they have these 1933 German SA haircuts. Have you noticed them? Huh? You don't have the hipster cops. They're not hip. I mean, you guys have chosen to do something great with your lives. These young men have done something great with their lives, organizing and fighting against repression. Those guys have decided with their short lives, whether it be 60 or 70 years, to work with the organs of repression. That's what they've decided to do for $60,000 or $70,000 a year and a pension. That's what they have decided. They have to go home tonight and say, what did you do? Their grandchildren, what did you do with your lives? Well, I repressed a movement. That's what I did. That's what they're doing. They're trying to repress a movement. They go into the black community. If Trayvon Martin lived in this city, he'd have been stopped and frisked every single day by the likes of those undercover agents over there. Or he may have been killed right here, like Romerly Graham, or Kenneth Banks, or Patrick Dorsman, or Amadou Diallo, or Alberta Spruill, or Eleanor Bumpers, Sean Bell. It goes on and on. They've killed 10, 15, 20, 30, I don't know. There was a guy who was being chased into the subway system on 7th Avenue because he had $5 worth of pot in his pocket. He ran from the police and he hit the third rail and he died. And you haven't read about that because they don't report it. That's what they have done with their lives, those guys over there. They've decided to join the axis of evil, which is the police department. Here, the U.S. Attorney's Office, they do the same thing. District Attorney, Cy Vance, the judges, it's all part of a triangulation. As Bill Kunstler said, the job of the police is to round up black people. The job of the courts is to put them in prison. The job of the appellate division is to keep them there. That's what it's all about. So there's racism throughout the legal structure in this state. And what you're doing right now, you're organizing. You got to continue to organize. When a cop stops and frisks you, you just don't give him any information. Do not give him any information. Don't, and tell your friends not to give them any information at all because they are acting illegally. They come up and want to search your bag, they have to have a reason. Those are illegal searches. Do not allow them. Tell your friends to say no to the police department. They are acting illegally. Yep. That's what they do. Instead of stopping crime, they're committing crime. These guys commit crimes. That's what they do. They are lawbreakers. The police department right over there, that's the gangs of New York right over there. They work for a police commissioner whose son was charged with rape. And there's adequate evidence that he did it, yet he got off. He never spent a minute in a local precinct. He didn't spend a minute over here, or a minute at the 77th precinct where we spent 12 hours in the scummiest prison I've ever seen in my entire life. The Abu Ghraib of this city is the 77th precinct. So continue to organize. It's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but just keep organizing and going into the community. Talk about jury nullification. Because when the police officer, you know when he's lying on the witness stand is when he's moving his lips. All right? So these guys lie on the witness stand, the prosecutors suborn the lies, and the judges look the other way. So this is just the beginning. The pipeline is stop and frisk. It's the rest of it. We have to stop mass incarceration. This is becoming a very popular movement, the work that you've done here. It's so popular, even Al Sharpton is about to jump on board if he can figure out a way to make some cash off of it. But in the meantime, you're making this a very popular movement. We will win this. Just keep organizing, and I'm really very happy to be part of this movement. Thank you.